Hello, I am Judah Bernard with the Rise Radio Voice. I am the wisdom dialoguer and the motivational warrior of the Rise Radio Voice. It is Sunday, and you know what time it is. Sunday Jewels on the Rise with LaRonda, and we are here just talking about, is it really worth it? What does that mean? Being that, hey, how you doing? Come on in, come on in, come on in. Um, wow, it's just been a long day. Hopefully you guys can hear me this time. Let's go ahead and say thumbs up if you can hear me. So what we're talking about is definitely is, are you, hey, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I am great. I can sit back now. I didn't want to show my little shorts hand.
I need to pull mine up.
How are you doing? So I think, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm LaRonda. Owner. He said audio is good.
Right. Last,
Audio.
I think what was going on last week was my headphones kept chiming in the background, and I didn't have them in the socket. So it'll switch over to my headphones in between. Even when I went outside, it switched over to my headphones. How's everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Hey, Sim, 4862, Uganda, Duran and Candace, how y'all doing? We are talking about, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Go ahead. We're going to let our co-host introduce herself, Miss LaRonda.
Hey, y'all. I'm LaRonda, the
Hey.
owner of Jules. The owner of Jules Mentor LLC, and I am also a cod, a pro cat. I also have a
Hi.
podcast. Today is just crazy. I also have a podcast. I actually have very own Love is LaRonda, and I release a new episode on Monday. So my third episode will be released tomorrow. And I'll tell y'all at the end of the show what the question I asked myself for the week is. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And I am the co-host of Sunday's Jews on the Rise with Mr. Judah Bernard.
How's everybody doing on this Sunday? The one thing is what we want to understand is it really worth it? And I want people to know that the premise for this subject is I was at a mall on yesterday and someone shot 12 rounds at the mall and hurt someone. Um, and I know this is Suicide Prevention Month, but killing people, like really, I think what we understand that, but it's a lot of things that we shouldn't be doing either, like making people angry. It's a lot of things that we shouldn't be doing, like stealing, lying. It's a whole lot of things in the Bible that we should not be doing, but we're doing them. So I have to question, number one is it really worth your soul? Is it really worth your soul? Did I go dead again? Or can people hear
No,
me?
I can hear you.
No, I see the comments then stopped. But I thought very long and hard about this because a lot of things we do is, number one is it's damage to your soul and eternal life. So I want to put it in the concept of what is it worth doing a lot of the things that you do. I said in church today because I saw this online that Pharaoh had to go through 10 plagues before he surrendered the children out of Egypt. How many do you have to go through to surrender? But in one of those, they killed the firstborn of every male child. How many of us can survive that?
Good question.
That's hard. That's some thought processing. If we really, really engage in the Bible like we should, like the Bible not scared me, but it brought light to things that I should not be doing. Hey, hi everybody. Hi. And I really want to have this deep conversation because basically sometimes my whole, are you really worth it, or is this really worth it? Like when you argue with somebody, what do you get out of that? Is it really worth it?
To some people, it is because
What
they.
what does that worth look like? What value does it have in it?
It depends on what value they see in
What
themselves.
the argument? I don't know.
When the Bible tells us that we perish for the lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we don't have an understanding of who we are and our value, then we do things that we really don't care, because a lot of times people have this "I don't care what happens to me" attitude, and they just do it. And then there's also sometimes people do things to survive. We don't know what they're doing it for. A lot of time people steal because sometimes it's just a high for people. It's just something they do. And then sometimes it's survival because they're hungry. So we really don't know the background of the situation until we can have a conversation to see what is really going on. So, because to some people, they don't care and it's worth it. It's like, I don't care about my life. And until they understand their value, then they do silly things because they have a lack of knowledge.
Okay, and I understand this. In the Bible it says, like you said, we perish for lack of knowledge.
Mhm.
But then again, Candace said, Paul said those things I shouldn't do, I do, and the things I should do, I don't. But when
That's
Candace,
when you have an understanding, like for us who are in Christ and understand that, then yeah, that is true. Because sometimes we know we shouldn't be eating all this junk food because we want to be healthy, but yet we still eat junk food. And there's people who know that sex is not good for them, but they still want to indulge it. I understand that. But what about the people who don't read the Bible or know that verse? It's totally a lack of knowledge, and no one is willing. We're at a day and time where everything is about self, and everything is surrounding self. And so I had heard a lot of people say, well, it ain't got nothing to do with me. In the immediate thing, it may not have nothing to do with you, but crime is going to affect all of us some
right?
type of way. And so we're just living in a day and age where mentors are not as non-existent. And I'm not saying that we can reach every kid, because the kid that was in that mall that was 16 years old.
Mm.
And so, and now she was 16 years old shoplifting, and now with the gun. So now she's going to be tried as an adult. And so my question is, where, who, or where, how, what went wrong? She's a baby.
And this is one thing that A. Key Debris said, and I know how bad it is, but I seek instant gratification over long term.
And a lot of people do,
Right.
because it's like they so in dire need of attention that whatever I can do to get this attention, I'm going to get it. Just like, they were saying the guy that went on a killing spree in Memphis, they were saying that he said that, this is just allegedly. I didn't hear him say this, so don't quote me, but they were saying he'll be known around the world. And so, and truth is, he is known around the world because every news station was talking about that darn killing that went on in Memphis last week. It was a week before last, whatever week it was. And so we're in a generation that seeks attention. And I mean, at any means necessary, they want this attention and they want this instant gratification now. They don't have the patience to wait for anything. They're not going to wait for anything. And it's a sense of entitlement. So to them, it is worth it because my name gonna get put out there. And whether it's good or bad attention, it's okay with them as long as their name is out there. That's a pat on the back to them. So to some people, it is worth it. But for the older generation, we don't quite understand it, but we kind of understand it, if that makes sense. But we're just in a weird time now, Judah. It's very weird.
And I totally get it, but I think like you said, everyone defines worth different.
Yes.
And sometimes worth sometimes is in a negative connotation for them. Being that I was watching some episode where this lady started killing people. And then in that, her main dream was to just get famous. And her name was in the newspapers and everywhere because she killed so many people. And that was her sight, the thing that she did. And at the end, she dreamed that she was famous while she's sitting here going to prison because now everybody knows my name.
Yeah. And it's all about fame and fortune. And I don't understand it. I don't know if you watched, I can't even think of the little girl name, but she got a whole series on Netflix, and Shonda Rhimes wrote the story. And her thing was to get her name out there for everybody to know her, and she scammed her way through life.
Oh, that was that fashion person.
So it's just like, it's all about what AK is all about, instant gratification. Like, how can I fulfill this? It becomes a childhood. And yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. We can say that it may came from childhood and may be abandoned. We don't know the absolute, but I think where I am right now, this is Suicide Prevention Month. I think these are the times that we should definitely go get evaluated. Everyone, get evaluated by a mental health professional. So you may find out what's truly wrong with you. Or whoever. If you don't go to the doctor every 6 months or 3 months or whatever, just go and see what's going on. Because
but
we miss
even if
a lot.
And you know what? And I agree, people do need to get an assessment done. But going to get the assessment is easy. It's the work you got to put in to change the behavior that's going to be hard that people are not willing to commit to. And so it's easy to go. You can get court ordered to go to psychiatric ward. You can get your family can court order you to go to all these things. But if the person is the one that has to put in the work to do stuff to change their behaviors, and so if they're not ready to change their behaviors, it's a kind of a waste of time to force somebody to, now. But I do believe that everybody need to have a psych evaluation just to see, because it's so many mental illnesses and mental health issues that people don't even know about. And I think I was amazed at all the abnormal things that can go on in a person. When I took abnormal psychology in college, and a lot of those things I saw in there, heck, I could put on me. But a lot of people don't realize there are a lot of things that they deal with is mental health issues. They just say, well, this is just who I am. No, it's a mental health issue, and you need to get it checked. Because if you are selfish, if you it's a lot of things that can be under in that DSM-5 book that you probably could qualify for.
Is it easy to get evaluation or it take appointments? You can get evaluated because now they have actual federal funded things where you can go for free. You can actually go and get federally funded. They have Federal Qualified Health Centers, FQHCs. So you can actually look up the Federal Qualified Health Center that does free mental health evaluations within your state, city, wherever. And I don't know whether it's about other countries too as well, but I know we have these at the United States. But I think they have them in Canada too, if I'm not mistaken. And if not, I can actually get information about somebody who lives in Canada and get that information for you too as well. But my thing is DM us. If you don't know where to go, DM us. We are very resourceful. If you can't take the time to look it up, trust me, we'll look it up for you because we want people to have assistance. Let me say I will. DM me and I'll look it up.
Either, because they want people in therapy so bad now. I got therapy, didn't even called for it. They called me and asked me did I want it, and I took it.
Yeah. I think for me, it's useful because
Yeah.
sometimes I say dig out your old children's closet.
Now, if you're not ready to face your demons, then you
Or
really,
face Let's say that.
therapy is going to pull out your demons. I'm sorry. Like things that you didn't even know that you was battling with. Therapy is going to pull out all those things.
And
And
let's
so
let's
yeah.
say that slowly. Good therapy. Let me be
Well,
honest with
okay.
you. Let's be honest. Let's be honest because I was a therapist. I was a good therapist. But one thing is when I start receiving therapy, I didn't have all good therapists.
Well, I was
So
blessed. I had some good ones.
let's be honest that
Yeah.
therapy is like shopping for cars. We can't say that you're going to always get a good therapist.
No.
Not feeling comfortable with the therapist you have the right to go somewhere else.
Don't be scared, AK, because the thing about it is I truly believe that once you release those things, then those things no longer have control over you. It's when you bury them, they control you. But
Right.
once you release it, it no longer has that
Oh yeah.
control over you. So it's all about you being authentic with who you are and where you are, and then working through those things. And therapy is just one of those things that helps you release all that pain and issues in the inside, so it no longer has control over you. And I also did physical therapy too, Candace, and I enjoyed that too because it ain't nothing but a workout with a physical trainer.
We try to help you move it.
Right.
Physical therapy too. Hey.
I said that ain't nothing but therapy with a personal trainer.
The one thing, AK Debris, we all had demons at one time. If you need an accountability partner, definitely we can talk about it and things like that too as well. You're right. Therapists do need therapists. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I was a therapist, I was holding on to a lot of my clients' stuff they told me because some of the stuff wowed me, and I couldn't believe. It's like, who? And my whole thing was, how can I help them? How can I? Oh, I wish I would. And some of that stuff starts sticking with you. Then what happens? Yeah, talk with someone.
I think, because they say psychiatrists and therapists end up crazy because they end up helping a lot of people because they don't know how to release that stuff back out. And so they carry it in. And so when you carry it in, I don't care what nobody say, spirits are real and they travel, baby. And so
say that for the people in these bricks back here.
Okay. So if you don't have a way to release that stuff back out, then that stuff becomes part of you. And here you is battling. So I do believe therapists need therapists, okay? Because they have to have, because they're human too. So they have to release that stuff back out. So even in life coaching and dealing with women who are addicted to drugs and some of the stories that they say to me, I just being like, wow. But I also understand that that's why God has callings on people's lives, because when you are called to something, you can handle it far better than when you just doing it because I want that name of a therapist to help people. No, baby, you got to have a calling of a therapist to help people, because if you don't have a calling, that stuff is going to drag you down.
That's why I had to switch over to the other side. Let me go on the coaching. Woo!
Yeah.
Look, let me help you move forward. I can't deal with that piece because I think for me, it became so worse because I was doing a lot of military veterans.
Oh.
Yeah. And for me being a veteran too as well, some of the things kind of triggered my stuff. And it wasn't.
I can understand, yeah.
So you better be.
And that's what I think people are prepared for, because when you're dealing with that stuff, it's going to trigger yours too if you ain't dealt with your stuff. So you need to deal with your stuff too, because you're going to be in there crying with your client. So yeah.
So I would even say for doctors, anybody that touch another human being.
Any type of service job, you're going to have some type of release, because if you do not have some type of release, then you're going to wear yourself out. Because when you are a person that's called to help other people, you will be so burdened with their issues that you begin to put those issues on yourself, and it's going to be overwhelming. And then that's when we get to the part of, does it really matter? Because when you are burned out and you don't have nobody to fulfill you, then what happens? You start not to care. And that's what happened to a lot of people who were going out doing all these killing and shootings. They burned out. They don't care no more what happens to them. And so they're just doing whatever. And sometimes you never even really know which one of them is like, because like even my son, I'm having a conversation with him, and he told me a couple months ago he didn't care what happened to him. So if I didn't start talking to him, he could have clicked like that too and went on a rampage. Because when you get in a position that you no longer care, it's no telling what you would do to yourself or to anybody else. Because homicidal spirits is just as rapid as suicidal spirits.
That is so true. What we're talking about right now, is it really worth it? And the thing is, what we're discussing is things that people do that they should not do. But sometimes we understand that we discussed it, that people do it because sometimes they just don't care.
They don't care.
They have no return, and they go and say, what's worth it to me may not be worth it to you. But I'm going to do what I do just to make me feel good. And that's what it's about. But then again, when we're looking from a whole biblical perspective, is that what are those principles that lie with you? What are those principles that lie with you? What are those values that lie with you?
What if they don't have any?
Huh?
What if they don't have any value?
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I'm talking to the ones that know about values, know about the word. Then we can go to the ones that, you know what, I really don't care. I understand as a therapist.
What?
I'm sorry. I don't know who that is. So what we have to understand.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is either. We have to understand that number one is we got to come in and look at where people are. And most people do not know how to do that. Them same bots in here. We don't know what that is, but you know what? I'm the person that love to hit the block button. I will block them real quick. In every instance, then they come back and say, "Oh, let me back in," and I say, "The devil is a lie." So what we're going to do is look at and try to not even assess, but meet people where they are. Because sometimes just a kind word can knock somebody that's having a bad day back into understanding that they really just need that kind word. Sometimes we go off on people because they went off on us.
Yeah.
So
one of the gifts that I have is empathy, but I understand that a lot of times people have to, they don't have it. They don't have empathy. And so I think when you have empathy and you're able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, it kind of gives you the discernment of what they need, if that makes sense. And so you're able to understand, okay, they in a bad place, so what can I do to help them like if this was me, what would I want if this was me? And so even though it may not be what they need, just trying to make them feel better, like you said, a kind word, a hug, a meal, anything that can just get their mind off of hurting someone else. Because I know someone personally, when they don't have money to pay bills, they get in this rut and they just talk about how they want to go rob somebody. Instead of asking for help, you rather go rob somebody. Make that make sense.
But at that point, it makes sense for them. I think that Kate DeBridge is people are intrigued by what people do on social media. They got people robbing people.
Yes.
They got people fighting on social media. And people think that's what gets them likes. It really don't get you the likes that you think that are good likes. It gets you to the point where, why are you doing this? And if you actually go through the comments and read it, because I've read some of them, I'll be like, you know, they calling you stupid on the outside. And just because you got likes, and I think we ran into this thing that, oh, because I need this certain amount to be Instagram famous.
They want to go viral.
Make it make sense. I think it's very positive that we can spread our message to the world. So why not use it for the good and not the bad?
Because we in a day and time where bad is good and good is bad, but we in the biblical days.
Well, let's say I'm glad that we're using it for this platform, and I can't talk about what other people are using it for, but what I know is for us, we have to put it in a context that many people can hear this and use it for the positive, because we don't know who this might save at any point or any time. So we thank all of our supporters for listening and actually able to gauge us with conversation and dialogue, because that's what's needed across the board. Which, you know, gives me room to open up for my book that is coming out. Hopefully it drops September the 30th. We're looking to drop it into Barnes and Nobles, and it's called The Truth of The Pressures of My Skin. But the K is crossed out.
That's amazing, Julie. Congratulations.
Huh?
I said, that's awesome. Congratulations.
And we call it Difficult Conversations. Difficult conversations that we don't have. And I want to make sure that we're able to discuss some of the things that's in that book. And also in that book, it will also be a journal too, that you can talk about the pressures of your skin sin too as well. Because the one thing is, we don't talk about these things, or it's a quiet motion. My whole holistic practice is about having these conversations in families. Going internationally, making sure that we are having these conversations and being a mediator between these conversations, so we can elicit these conversations that they can be more prevalent in every household. Every household. Not just one, every household. It has to start somewhere. So I'm thankful to God for the vision and also opportunities. Thank you, everyone. Yes, we will definitely get a copy and things like that. Once they drop, everyone will know, because I'm just ready. We need to have these difficult conversations. One thing that LaRonda said, that had she not even talked to her son, she don't know what he could have done. Because he went to the small step of, I don't care anymore. And how does that make you feel as a mother that your son say that?
You know, to be honest, it kind of makes you feel like a failure. It kind of makes you feel like, what did I do wrong? How did I not see? But see, my kids with me, I have dreams about them. And when I have dreams, I go talk to them to see where they are. And so my son is one of these, he's very quiet and he's very isolated. He loves staying to himself in his room, playing his game. Very intelligent kid, but he doesn't talk to people. And so if I don't go to him to talk, then he don't talk. And so an incident had happened where he was driving, he was speeding, and the police got behind him. And my daughter just so happened to be with him, and the police was behind him. And you know, now they got the rule when the police has someone pulled up on the side, you're supposed to get over. So supposedly he didn't get over, and he kept speeding on through. The police come behind him, you know, and pulls him over. We can take you to jail. So evidently he don't care about what he's seeing happen to black boys and police. Okay, he don't care. So you know, when I heard the story, I didn't call him to go off on him. My first thought was he doesn't care what happens. So I asked him the question. I said, do you care what happens to you? And he said, a few months I didn't. He said, a few months ago, I didn't. So I asked the question again. I said, what made you start to care? He said, because I realized there was a few people that cared about me, meaning me, because he went through a situation where he was very hurt. And my son's father died when he was 3. Right. And he had never grieved his daddy's death. And so he finally broke down to grieve his dad's death, and I was there to you know, to hug him and hold him through those moments. And my son just turned 22. And so his dad died when he was 3. So he's just now grieving his father's death at 21 years old. And so that moment, I think that's when he realized that someone cared about him. And so that's when he's now changing his thought pattern, because he was like, a couple of months ago, he said, I didn't care what happened to me. And when I went to, because he lives with my parents, and when I went to my parents' home, now one thing about me, I have a strong sense of discernment. And when I went in his room is jet black. He don't turn on no lights in there. Okay. And when I sat on his bed to talk to him, I said, you need to get some light in this room. I said, the spirit of depression is living up in here. It's living here. And because I said, darkness is not where you need to be. I said, if you don't get out of this room but for 10 minutes a day, you need to get out of here and go get you some sunlight. And you need to open up these blinds to let sunlight in here, because depression is in here. So you know what I did? I went to grandmama's roots, baby. I went and got some oil, and I prayed and anointed that room. And then finally he tells me that I have to admit, he said, I am depressed and I am having issues with depression. And so now I make sure that I call and talk to him, because when you are in depression, there's no telling what you would do, because your mind is not your own. And if you don't take your own life, you don't care about what happens to you, and you can do just whatever stupid stuff that you do. And although I'm a mother, it's not worth it to me. But when you don't know your worth and your value, because he says to me, I just don't feel I have purpose. And it's not that I didn't teach him that he didn't have purpose. It's that he is at an age where the enemy speaks to his mind because of the gifts that's in him. So you have to know spiritual warfare, spiritual things. And I understand, Rhonda, this has nothing to do with you. This is his journey. This is his battle. Only thing you can do is stand in the gap for him, but he has to be the one to do the work. This is not a mama's issue. This is his journey's issue. And this is his journey that he's going to have to fight, because even though I can tell him every day his value, until he realizes his value, all I can do is stand on the wall and pray and give him what God gives me to give him. And whatever he does with that information is on him. But I know the gift that's in my child, and I know the Bible told me to train him in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart from it. So that's what I'm standing. Yeah.
I think that's inspirational, because I think the mothership that you're giving him should be portrayed through all parents. Is that you have to understand that's your children's journey, not yours.
You're right.
And I think I saw one of my other friends post on social media that how his daughter wanted to do something else besides play basketball. And she wanted to dance. And how, you know, how we want to force our child to do what we want to do. And how he saw that his daughter really wanted to dance. And guess what? That might just be for a phase that she just want to dance. And now he posted, like today, that now she says she want to start training for basketball. But giving her that opportunity to do what she want to do when she wants to do it, not when you want your child to do it. And most people don't do that.
And my first podcast was about allowing children to be who they are and stop forcing them to be who you want them to be. And it was like, why does it appear so hard to love a teenager? And it's simply because we don't accept who they are. We have to accept them. They have to make mistakes. They have to have flaws in order to grow and to know and to learn. But if parents don't allow their children to explore and make those decisions and those mistakes, we actually hinder them from the place where God needs them to be, because we're going to keep trying to force them to be preachers and doctors and lawyers and all these things. But if their mind is not there to be those things, then we actually are hindering them. So we have, like I said on my first podcast, between the age of 12 and 18, a child has this development, you know, social work is identity versus role confusion. And if they don't figure out their identity between 12 and 18, then they're going to be 40 and 50 years old doing stupid stuff, trying to figure out who the freak they are, because they get role confusion and they don't have a clue to who they are, because from 12 to 18, because they're your kid, you forced them to be who you wanted them to be. And actually what you did was force them to rebel against you, to become something far more way out there than you ever could imagine, when all you had to do was let them choose to be a freaking dancer. Let them dance. And then when they get in it and they realize, well, this really ain't what I want, give them the opportunity to explore. And then you don't have to worry about when they're 20, 25 years old, them making dumb decisions, because their dumb decisions was made between 12 and 18 doing that identity versus role confusion. But then when they get 18 and 19, then they own fans only and all these different other stuff, trying to figure out who they are.
And I want to definitely comment to what Candace is saying. Yes, ma'am. Start having him take the word of God, turn around what the devil has put in their mind. Let me be honest with you, and I have a nephew right now, is that he's confused about the word. He's confused about what he want to do with God. What do you do?
A lot of teenagers there.
Because now, if we throw or force the word of God on them or ease the word of God on them, because sometimes you don't want to be so abrupt and brash that they rebel from God again.
Because that's what's going to happen. I have so many people that want their children to be prophetess and deacons and preachers, and these kids have no clue
how to start.
And the thing about it is, y'all want them to have these spiritual gifts, but the battles that come with it is crazy. And so I've learned that you only can give your testimony of what God done for you. You have to learn to relate the word to logic. And until you learn to do that for a teenager, they're going to reject the word of God, because the church is so corrupt right now. And no one is believing anything that's in the church right now. Even though there are still some traditions and religious things out there. I'm not against the church. Please don't think I'm against the church. But because the church has proved themselves to be kind of like the world, this generation is not studying the church or the word of God, because they feel that it's false. So you're going to have to literally take your story and find a way to relate that to the word of God, to get them to understand the word of God. And in order to do that, you're going to have to be authentic in what you're doing, because they're not just going to believe words anymore. You're going to have to literally show them logic and actions that this word works. And if you can't show them that, they don't want it.
And that's
And
one
it's
thing
going to
that
come to you being truthful with where you are.
one thing I want us to understand, and I have to be honest with everybody, and I'm glad that I do coaching now, because it takes me out the equation of wanting to know more about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we get so in our mind that we want so better for them that we give them what we want unknowingly and unconsciously.
That is true. As a mother, that is true.
As a friend, as anything, we will go, oh, well, you should be doing, no, see, you already putting you back in there.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is, I want to show people more of a supportive role. If Rhonda, if you role play with me right quick.
I will.
Okay. So Rhonda, you will be, if you want to play like you're my daughter.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna role play a role, and I don't care what you want to be, but I'm your father right now. Okay. So you guys with this role, I'm the father. Rhonda, how old you want to be, so I know how I need to gauge.
I'll be 16.
You're only 16.
I'm 16.
Okay. The whole theme of this is I'm going to Rhonda's room, and I see she's just sitting on her bed. Okay. And we're going to have a conversation. I'm Rhonda's father, okay?
Okay.
This is what I'm doing. I'm respecting, number one, her boundaries. I'm knocking on her door. Hey, Rhonda, this your dad.
Hey. Come in, Dad.
Okay. Hey, how you doing?
Huh? I'm good.
Okay. Well, I see some things and stuff are on the floor in here. What's going on?
And I'll get up later.
Okay. I know you said you'll get them up later. We talked about this about 2 days ago. What is later for you?
I'll do it in a minute.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about school. What's going on?
No, it's cool.
Okay. Now, I'm dad now. What's cool for you? Because cool for me back in the 70s was just, we out doing different things. So what's cool for you guys? Because now I need to understand what cool is for you guys, because in the 70s it was totally different.
This is same old. Go to school, you do the work, you talk to your friends, you eat lunch, you talk, come on. It's cool.
Okay, cool. Well, anything going on with you at school? Anything going on in your life? Well, what's going on? I know me and your mom been talking. She said you've been a little quiet and things.
No, I'm just chilling. I'm cool.
Okay. All right. So how are you feeling? Tell me how you feeling at this moment.
I'm good.
And describe what good means.
I'm not sick. I'm here.
Okay. Anything going on as far as homework? When do you get your report card? Or what's?
No, it comes next week. The progress report comes next week. I got all A's and B's.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, that's good. So I think one thing is, any problems with your teachers? Anything that me and your mom need to discuss?
Not really.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you can get out of? I know you sit in your room and things like that. What are some fun things you like to do and things like that? Because like I said, me and your mom had a conversation. So it's a concern of ours that, you sit in the room a lot. And we're just trying to figure out physically what's going on, because we don't see you come out of the room. We see you go straight in from home. We come in and we're concerned. And I know you probably will want to talk to me. And if you prefer to talk to your mom, she's open to talk to you too. But your mom sent me in here to talk. So
I just have some things in my mind. I just think through. It's nothing that no one can help me with. I'm just I just feel like being by myself. Nope, no big deal.
Well, I know because you
Like
have. Go ahead.
I just like watching, videos on my phone or YouTube, but I just
Okay.
have a lot going on, just thinking.
Now I hear you say you have a lot going on, and you said you're thinking. What are some of those thoughts? Describe some of those thoughts to me.
Like what I want to do after graduation, um, what type of person I want to be. And then, sometimes I wonder, am I good enough? Do people
Okay.
really care?
Mhm.
Um, it's just a lot, just I look at my friends and they have different things, they have different parents, and it's just a lot. But I'm okay.
Well, I think to us, maybe it's not okay, but since you said you're okay, let's just discuss some of those things about being okay. Number one is you talked about some of your friends, and other things that you talked about was you don't know what you want to do after school. One thing is I want you to know that me and your mom is here to support you. We're
Okay.
not we're not forcing you to do anything. The one thing is we understand that this is your journey. So what are some of the things that you think you like doing? I know you say you like watching YouTube videos, and everybody has media and all this and stuff. Maybe that's an interest of yours.
Yeah, I like doing videos. I would like to be an influencer.
Okay. Tell me something about an influencer or somebody that you've watched. Or maybe we can watch something together, right?
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. So my thing is, let me ask you a question. Since you're 16, this your dad talking to you. Would you prefer your mom or we all watch it together? Probably doing dinner or something where we can actually just join in. Or maybe we can go somewhere and just watch. Do they have like a YouTube or video influencer type of conference or something that we can all go to? Because me and your mom, we probably don't know much about it, but we'll love to get into some of it with you. What do you think about that?
It's cool.
Okay. So let's do this. I'm gonna give you this, and you tell me how this works for you. I think I saw an influencer conference coming up, and me and your mama pay for it, and we just want to learn more about what you want to do in life, and maybe this will give us an opportunity to see what works or what looks good for you, and see if you enjoy it. Because maybe that's something you don't want to do, but you have the opportunity to see how other influencers are doing and getting the stuff that they need too as well. What do you think about that?
It's cool.
Okay. So all this, I know you talked about, other things too as well. Anything else you want to talk about that?
Hmm. Not right now.
Okay. Well, anytime, let me tell you. Number one is me and your mom, we care about you.
Okay.
That's I wouldn't be here if I didn't care about you. And your mom would have never sent me in here if we didn't care about you, because she would have come. But I want you to understand, number one is we care about you. And I want to open up the lines of communication and tell you, and I want you to open up the lines of communication because I feel like you're old enough now to communicate your thoughts and your wants to us. And also if you're feeling some type of way. Because I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes dad don't have good days. And it's okay not to be okay. And what is dad saying that? Do you think dad feel like going to work all the time? No. But sometimes I have to go to support family. Sometimes I have to do things that I really don't want to do. But guess what? I have to measure that and get it moving, because the thing is, my move is measured by the love that I have for you guys. Okay? So,
Okay.
I don't too much of the time. I see you going to your phone now. So guess what? Whenever you want to come talk to us, open door policy. Because guess what? It's about us communicating. Okay?
Okay.
Enjoy your school and you keep up on those A's and B's. Your car is coming, okay?
Yay.
So that was just a prime example of how we should have those conversations and describe things and have them say it. Because if you notice with Rhonda, I'm cool. I'm okay.
Mhm.
But guess what? Some people go to cussing after that.
Man, what?
Or they get frustrated because she's cussing
Mhm.
or she's saying, I'm okay. But guess what? If that's what she is, allow her to be that.
Yeah.
And just came back to her and say, I know sometimes y'all have a new way of saying cool, and it might not mean the same thing as cool for me in the 70s. So I'll
Right.
break that language barrier. Because that might be cool. She might be out smoking drugs and doing whatever versus what we used to do called cool. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
I mean, and thank you guys. I mean, thank you, Rhonda, for being vulnerable to as being my daughter. But sometimes we have to talk to our people like that because basically they're trying to make it.
Yep.
And the more pressure we put on them, the harder it becomes to them.
And that's the one thing I love about my children is that they know when it gets too bad, they can call me.
Mm-hmm.
The day that my son was breaking down, he said, "Mama, I need you now." He
Right.
said, I can't. He said, "I'm hurting and I need you now." I dropped everything
Right.
and I got my tail to where my son was. It's about an hour from where I stay to where he stayed. I dropped everything. I told my daughter, I said, I gotta get to my son. She was like, "What's wrong?" I said, "That doesn't matter." I said, I think my car was messed up. She jumped up too. We got the baby and we headed on down. I got there. And so I don't care what my children are going through. When they say, "Mama, I need you," I don't care where I'm at. I'm leaving and I'm getting to my children, and they are adults. Because I know for me, my children is not going to say that to me unless they need me. And so when that day came, he said, "Come, I need you. I'm hurting so bad." And he said, "Take me to my dad." Now, I had never been to that man's grave since the day he died. And Judah, I'm thinking when I go to this grave, I need to be strong for my son, but heck, I'm about to break
Be
down.
strong for you. Right.
But you know what? When I went, God showed me, "Rhonda, you are healed from this." And I didn't shed one tear.
Yes,
I
Lord.
hugged my baby. I showed him his daddy's grave. I hugged my baby and I said, "You stand right here as long as you need to. Say what you need to say. I'm gonna go back over here and sit in the truck and I'm gonna give you your time with your dad to release whatever you need to release. And I'll be waiting for you when you come back and ready to go." And I went to the truck and I sat down and I waited. I let him have his conversation with his dad, whatever he needed to, release out of him. And I sat there and God revealed to me there is a healing from grieving, and
Mm,
that you don't always have to grieve and cry when someone dies.
that
But
part.
people choose to do that because that's what they are accustomed to doing. But every anniversary, every birthday, every death day does not have to be a sad day. It's a sad day because you keep wanting to relive it. But if you truly heal from it, you
Mm,
can truly heal from grief if you want to heal from it. Because God showed me that day, "Rhonda, you are healed. You don't
mm,
have to cry about this no more." So therefore, I know that if people continue to live years and years and years and years in grief, it's because it's a choice for them to live there. But if they have God and they truly want to be healed from their pain, you can be healed from it. It does not have to burden you down.
right. And I think what we still have to do is look at the options because the number one thing is I think we have to understand what relationships that we have. And the thing is, what is those relationships meaningful to you? Because one thing is people sometimes say they're a friend, but when you need them, you're not available.
100% been my life. And that's why I'm in a place, Judah. I can't sit on the phone with you hours no more talking about unnecessary stuff because
That part.
God has shown me that's a
You ain't
distraction to
fine.
me to keep from moving and doing what I need to do. But when I'm in the pits and I'm down and I need you, your answer to me is, girl, I know what you mean. So you don't got no encouraging word for me. You ain't got nothing to fill me up. You ain't got nothing to help me out of my rut. But every time you in one, you ringing my phone, talking to me for hours, and I'm just pouring and I'm pouring and I'm pouring. I said, oh, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. And so now I tell people, if it's not reciprocal, I don't want it.
I don't think I wanted was a drop of water. I didn't want the whole glass.
Okay, just a drip.
I drip. Come on, something needs to come out.
Right. And so I'm just like, I don't mind helping
But some people just listen so they can pass the gossip on. That's all.
And I don't have time for that no more. If my friendships are not about leveling up and getting to position and on your platform to where God has called you to be, I want no parts of it. So if that means I have to sit in my house alone with my daughter and my grandbaby, kudos, I am okay with it. I don't have time. I don't have time to listen to drama of a relationship that you know that's not working for you. So if I done gave you
the past 15 ain't been working for you.
So if I done gave you the same stuff 10 times, I don't have nothing else to say about it. If you choose to stay there, then I support you. Don't keep bringing me the same information.
Let me tell you what I said. Let me be honest with you. 15 times, I said, you know what?
Right, Candace.
Oh, it's you. I hung up the phone. And if you can't realize that you're a part of the problem, then you possibly can't be part of the solution. I'm sorry.
Can't nobody do nothing to you that you don't allow. So if you keep allowing the behavior, then you can't come calling me crying every 3 days about what someone has done to you and you keep letting it happen. So I don't, if you're my, and I know I've been there, but I learned from my mistakes and I can never give myself to a man in that way no more. So if I'm telling you my horror stories, why do you keep wanting to go make your own? Like, make it make sense. So, but if you want to make your own horror story and you want your heart broke, so be it. I'll support you in your decision, but I'm not finna sit talking about the same thing over and over and over. But then when I need you for something serious, as my child want to commit suicide, you know, my child don't want to commit suicide, but I'm just saying, you don't have no encouraging word. You don't even have time to talk to me. And when I call you, so well, let me call you back. I'm finna roll to the store. And you never call back. No.
Because they ain't got nothing for you.
They ain't got nothing for me. Nothing.
Not even
not even a Bible verse. So, I'm just in a place where if it's not reciprocal, I don't want it.
Reciprocation is needed, especially in this Christian world that we're in. And some people just don't have it. They just looking. Everybody want a prophetic word, but people don't want to do the prophetic works. Everybody. So, I know we're top of the hour.
Oh, sure.
So, any Sunday jewels before we leave today? I know we didn't invite anybody up. I guess we got on our soapbox real heavy. But interesting, and hopefully you can go back and watch it and actually look at the dialogue myself and Rhonda had when she was the daughter and I was the father, and try to take a little note or a piece of that to make sure that we start supporting each other and stop downing each other. Everybody start asking why. Well, why'd you do that? What you do that for? And what did that? I can't even get a word out because you asking me all those things, and I be like, what's up? Oh,
yeah, honey, they used to be me.
Now, for me, can you pray for yourself too? We can't pray for you if you're not praying for yourself, okay? We want to make sure you're praying for yourself, what you're studying for. What is one of those Sunday jewels we got?
I think my Sunday jewel for this week is be intentional. Be intentional in everything that you do, with everyone that you're in relationship with everyone that you're in contact with. Be intentional. And what I mean by that is, even if you don't, like for instance, if you feel the urge and you feel like something is going on, give them a hug, give them an encouraging word, ask them, can you buy their lunch for the day? You never know what they can do. Always walk in purpose, and walking in purpose means you're going to be intentional about everything you do, because your character is going to always speak for you. And so that's one of the things that I'm learning for myself in this season of life is intentionality, being intentional with everything that I do, even with the things that I say. I'm being intentional with it because I need my character to speak for me. I don't need no bad blood or behavior on me. And so I want my character to speak for me. I want my fruit to speak for me, because they said we're known by the fruit that we bear. And so I want my fruit to be good fruit. I don't want you encountering me and you leave thinking, oh, she evil, she this. No, I want you to understand that my whole philosophy now is love. And that's why I'm doing that podcast, Love is LaRonda, is because I'm on a journey to figuring out what is this authentic agape love. And I'm going to figure this thing out. And then when I figure it out, when I get it together, this is what I'm going to serve the world. Is this authentic agape love, because we really are in a need for authentic agape love. And so the fruit that I bear will speak for me, and my character will speak for me. I'm not going to have to speak for me. That's because everything that I'm doing it with intentionality. I'm doing it intentional for purpose. So if it has nothing to do with purpose, I don't want no part in it. None at all. And so for the young girl that says she wants us to pray for her, can you write what you want us to pray for so we can pray for you?
I don't think they said studying. They said
she said, I'm studying now, but can you pray for me? Right. And I want to know, because the thing about it is, people tell us to pray for them. But when you're dealing with God, you got to be intentional, and you got to tell God exactly what it is that you want. Because praying for you, we can pray for anything, but we don't want the wrong thing coming to you. So you want us to pray for you. What do you want us to pray for?
And we don't know what you
right. We don't know what. So tell us what do you want us to pray for? Because I want to be, if I'm going to pray for you, I want my prayer to be intentional, and I want to be specifically for you, because God answers prayer. Even though God knows, he can't unlock nothing until we ask him.
That part. Open up your mouth.
Yeah. So if you want, right. So if you need something, you need to be specific in what you're praying for. Yeah. And so sure you can inbox me if you don't want to put it on the platform. You can inbox me or Judah. The what, Judah?
I said, make sure your posture and your in the right form too, as well, when you ask.
Well, yeah, but even if it's not, she says she's studying now, so that means she's trying to get in that way. So maybe she needs help getting there. But anyway, if you don't want to put it on the platform, inbox, DM me or Judah, right, and let us pray for you. But be specific in what you want us to pray for. Amen. Be intentional. That's my jewel for today.
Okay, be intentional. Okay, my jewel today is the A and the R. Be accountable and responsible. And what that means, being accountable, show up. Sometimes we don't even show up.
Right.
Sometimes we can't even show up for our own work job and do the bare minimum.
The bare minimum.
Sometimes just be accountable in your everyday life. On your Christian journey, be accountable for Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it real. Some of us don't even wake up and say, thank you, Lord.
And don't.
I think what we have to understand, what does that mean? Every day that we are in here, he said, in everything give thanks. Everything. He said, this is the will of God concerning who?
Concerning you.
Concerning you. And we must be mindful what that is. When we start complaining, he said, in everything give thanks. Everything. And, you know, we always battle with the mind, but he also says, I will keep you in perfect peace as long as your mind
stays on
stays
him.
on him. That's why you battling, because your mind ain't on him. That means we should be regurgitating him every second, every minute, every hour, every day, what's that song by Kanye West? Every minute, every hour, every second, all that.
Yeah.
We need them.
Yeah.
If we put that effort in every day about we need God, I wake up with God, I need you. God, I need you. When I'm going, God, I need you. I have to ask for him. But sometimes it's just not the ask. It's about going down on the knees and praying for it.
If you got bad knees like mine, just lay in the bed.
I need that work. Be like, God, please help me through this situation. Because like you said, this world is evil out here now. And they out here. And what we have to understand that is we need to understand is how they're trying to mess with our Christian psyche. They'll try you on the field. Yeah, we always ask the Holy Spirit to intercede. We ain't got no other choice but that. But the thing is, they will try you as a human still.
Oh, they're going to try you because the enemy, God allows tests.
Right.
And so in order to go to the next level, you have to pass the test. But you got to understand nothing can come to you unless God has allowed it to come to you to test you to see where you are. And so a lot of times people looking at the people, but you have to learn to look at people for the spirit and not for the person. Because some people do have evil spirits, and some people can discern that your spirit is of Christ, and they will do little simple things, but you got to understand that you have power over the enemy. And so when the enemy comes up to you like a flood, you have a standard that you can lift up against them and just say, Lord, I take authority over every spirit that's not like you in the name of Jesus. Satan, you got to get on up out of here.
And I'm gonna tell you what one thing that I learned in about Job. God allowed the devil to do what he wanted to with Job. But what he told him is, you can do anything you want to him, but don't mess with him.
And then what happened to Job?
That part.
He got double for everything he lost.
How many of us ready for the flesh to fall off our bones?
Can these bones live?
How many of us is ready for that flesh to fall off your bones? Ill with disease and all your friends looking at you to tell you to curse God and die. How many of us don't give it up?
Lost his children, lost his home, his wife, he lost
everything Job had was gone.
And not once did he deny or curse God. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be thy name.
For the Lord. His own wife said, curse him.
You sound like a foolish woman.
And that she was. But I want us to understand how many of us are standing these times like this. Because we're too far off. We're these far left Christians or far right, whatever y'all want to call yourself. But we just, y'all, I call it hop in, hop out Christians. I'm keeping it real. Y'all hop in, hop out Christians. But we're going to go ahead and go. And at the end of the day is we love everyone. And we mean good way. And we say things like this, not to be harmful or anything, but we find humility in it being that we love to talk and it's our passion. And if you see myself and LaRonda laughing a lot, it's because we know what we're talking about and we feel good about it. That's how country people do. I'm just sorry. You know, like they laugh all the time. Guess what? Humility comes to soul.
It does.
So what we want you to understand is, yeah, we
Yeah.
right. We thank you guys for listening. And as
Thank you, Candace.
we want you to tell a friend, tell a foe, tell your spouse. Heck, tell everyone. We'll see you on the next podcast. We'll be Tuesday night on Podbean Live. We don't have a topic yet, but we'll have Monday night. But also make sure you Love is LaRonda, her third podcast too as well. You can look her up on Jules Mentoring LLC. And as we leave here, we want to thank you guys. Spain, all the 7 continents, these people are listening to us. If you want to go listen to our archive videos, it's www.therise.live, and we will be there, okay? All right? Love you guys. Good night.
Bye. Thanks, Candace.